Arsenal continue to be on top of the table and for some time. It's time for us now to cross over to the other end of studio where Regina is speaking to her guests. And of course, three of them. There's Wanja Kimani, there's also Frederick Othiambo, and Dr. Christine Ombaka, who is the woman representative for Siaya. A familiar face, she's been here before, but then again joins two other panelists to discuss what is happening at the Gulf, particularly involving our domestic workers. Regina?
Yes, very well said, and that just sets the ball rolling here. So let's start off with how the status as it is, given that Frederick Othiambo, who is a rapid response officer at Haki Africa, thank you very much for your time. Just set the ball rolling for us, how does the status look in as far as numbers are concerned since you're in the value chain?
Thank you so much. As you've mentioned, I'm very happy to be here. My name is Frederick Othiambo Jiro. I'm the Rapid Response Officer for Haki Africa, which is a human rights organization. As we speak from my desk, as per yesterday but one, that is on Friday, we have got 211 individuals that have reached out to us, either directly through WhatsApp, Facebook, email, or have sent their relatives to reach us at our organizations, both in Mombasa and Nairobi. We also have one of the individuals that reached us through WhatsApp was able to tell us that there were around 200 girls in deportation center in Sakan. So you can add the other team of 200 plus 211 that has reached out. And then we have got another 8 Kenyans who are in Riyadh in another exit 19. So you can do the total, but the most important thing here is not how many. Even one is too much.
Even one is too much. Yeah. Now, Wanja, who is a survivor's advocate, you had your time in the Middle East. Maybe paint a picture for us. We have 400 plus from Haki Africa as those who have reached out needing assistance. How was it for you down at the Middle East?
I first want to agree with him that if this is only 200 that are approaching Haki Africa, there are others who are approaching the organization that I work closely with. There are also others that are approaching me for help because they know I have been there. I have seen the whole strategy of rescuing somebody, especially from Saudi. So if we put all these numbers together, being that I am not the only survivor advocate that is also handling these cases on a one-on-one basis, these are so many cases, and maybe we don't get to hear about them. For example, the one that approached me, I never go public about it. There are other people on the internet that are also going public about the cases they are helping. So I want to agree with him that these are huge numbers. It's not something we can quantify exactly, but yes, I was there. I can tell for a fact that yes, Kenyans are suffering in the deportation centers because I was there as well. And yeah, the situation is dire, and there needs to be rapid action.
Rapid action. Yeah. Now, Wanja, you've said you have been there. Maybe give us a summary. Now that you were there, you're here. What happened to you back then? Was it in 2016?
No, it was just last year.
Last year.
Very recent.
Okay.
Very recent.
Tell us, what happened?
My issue started here in Kenya before I even traveled, because I was given the contract like 2 hours before I took the flight. And I did not agree with the terms of the contract, especially the part that says only the employer has the authority to terminate the contract. And the other part that I did not agree with is that the moment you board the plane, you are no longer in the hands of the Kenyan agent. The moment you agree to board that plane, you are now in the care of your employer. So whatever happens to you, yeah. So when my situation started, when I started discussing with the agent there and then, before I even agreed to board the plane, I was told to pay back the money that I owe them. Then I was wondering, okay, I didn't even care what money it was, because at that point I had nothing. I had spent all the money I had on me. Yeah, so I agreed to go with the others because, I mean, many have gone and they have survived. So I took the leap of faith, literally, and I went there. Yeah, and like there were a lot of red flags that I did not question even before I boarded the flight or I even agreed to go there. But when I got there, like everything was unfolding so fast. For example, I had been told that nobody will take away my passport because it was mine. I had it even many years before because it was not my first time to travel. But now when I got there, the first thing that was taken the moment we landed at the airport was the passport. Mm-hmm. And while we were standing there on the queue, there was just an Asian, let me say an Asian person, because I cannot tell for sure if that he was Filipino or not. So he was standing there and we were standing on a queue and he was saying passport, passport, passport. And those we were with were just giving it without questioning who is this and why is he taking our passports, and what if we are not the right group that he's supposed to take passports from? Yeah, but I saw that nobody is questioning, so let me just go with the flow.
So, Wanja, you said you got your contract 2 hours before boarding the flight.
Yes.
When you were applying to actually for this job, did the job meet the description of what you had been applying for?
That was one of the red flags because while I was looking for this job, at first I was told I was going to be a tutor in Dubai, which was okay, but later on the terms changed, like very few days before the time I was meant to travel, because remember I am very mentally prepared for this. And like I have conditioned myself that I have to go because my kids need me. I had a child who had a condition of the heart, my son, and I had conditioned myself I really have to go because of that. And so when I was told that Dubai is still under lockdown and I have to consider another option, I was still okay with that because I was told initially that I would be working in different houses every day, which seemed safer to me than working with just one employer like continuously. So when I was told that I will be like working in different houses every day, I was told to even carry my documents that I can, while I'm done working, I can go apply elsewhere and so forth. And it seemed reasonable to me. But the moment I got there, like even the cars themselves are not even tinted. They are like painted like very tiny meshes. You can't even look through the window. If you dare look, you'll be disturbed in the eyes. You won't even look outside. So in a place you cannot even look outside with your eyes, how are you gonna even look for a job
elsewhere?
Yeah.
So was that your turning point to want to come back?
No, that was not even it. Because I felt that many have tried. I also have to try because I'm already there. What can I do? I have to
You
make
were doing it for your children.
Like I had to make it count, you know. I had already come too far.
Now let me rope in Daktari. This is Dr. Christine Ombako-Dwor, who is a woman rep from Siaya County. Do you feel that the government has done enough to secure the safety of domestic workers, especially in the Gulf? We have Wanja here, we have the statistics from Haki Africa, and we've said one person is more than enough.
Yes. Thank you very much, first of all, for giving me the opportunity to be here and express my views. Excuse me. I really think the government has not done anything. That is one thing I want to emphasize. The government has not done anything because the story of the women suffering in the Gulf or in the Arab world, women who have gone there to work, every time they come back, they come in a coffin. People have raised questions. People have complained. The government is quiet. Nobody's responding. Nobody's answering anything. And I feel the government is doing nothing. Because it's only last week that there was a lady in the social media feeding cats.
Dogs are
and I was told that that was happening in Saudi Arabia. The details I cannot tell right now, but if that is the case, then it's a recent one. It is not long ago, it is just the other month when another lady was brought back after she had pleaded through the social media. Her parents made so much noise, then she was brought back. But she was thin, she had lost so much weight. There are many, many cases. If the government was taking action, by now everything would have stopped.
Now, Daktari, from where you sit as a parliamentarian, as a woman rep, you sit there. You are in the right place to, if change,
yes,
the tide when it comes to legislation. Is this something? Is the time right now to have a law or a policy put in place?
Definitely.
Tailor-made to suit domestic workers, especially in the Gulf.
Yes, because that's where most violence comes from. I know violence is all over the world, but the one that is more prominent is from the Gulf. Why the Gulf? Why the Arab world? Why not America? Why not any other country? I know people die in other countries and they come back in a coffin. I know people are challenged whenever they leave their country to go and work in another country. There are challenges, there are difficulties, there's racial discrimination, there is all sorts of violence in different ways, but not all of them end up killing. The manner in which we see our girls come back home, completely tortured, either they're in coffins or they're tortured, they're miserable, they're never happy. When one leave the country to go and work in another country, one expects that you're going to get a good job, you're going to have a little bit more money than what you get in Kenya, you are going to support your family back home, but instead, families in Kenya are the ones helping their daughters in Saudi Arabia.
Clearly there's a problem. Now,
there's a problem.
Being a devil's advocate, and I'd want to go with what government has been saying in regard to this matter after the recent 2-3 weeks. One of the issues that was brought out is the caliber, the mannerisms of the girls that are taken there is to count. Another issue that was brought out in that communication was the issue of illiteracy. Wanja and Friedrich. Let's start with Wanja. Do you think that that particular statement when it comes to government and how they think that that is the reason why these girls are treated the way, how does that make you feel?
For example, the issue in the Gulf is not illiteracy or mannerisms. For example, I have studied to degree level and I have taken other courses on the side. So you cannot say that the issue is illiteracy. Second thing is about the mannerisms. Like somebody that wants to harass you, somebody that wants to mistreat you, somebody that wants to kill you will still do it because this is not about you, it's about them. It has nothing to do with your character, nothing to do with what you're doing or not doing. Somebody that wants to harm you will harm you whether you're in control of it or not.
Now, Friedrich, you've handled the issue of bringing these girls back, especially those in distress. But then, let's look at the agents who recruit them to go there. Do we also go after the agents, or are we just focused? Have we ever had agents brought to book? Because, as they say, this is another form of human trafficking and bordering on slavery.
This is modern day slavery. I think time has come that we need to look at the government in the face and tell them the truth. And look at these criminals and illegal entrepreneurs who are becoming fatter and fatter at the expense of our women. I think it is important to note that we are running a campaign of bring back all our girls from the Gulf. And this campaign has been decided by virtue of the circumstances and the statistics that we have with regards to the situation of our women in the Gulf. As a matter of fact, we are living a dream. As much as the government has turned a deaf ear on this, we believe that they are still Kenyans of goodwill. They are still citizens of the world of goodwill that are touched by the situation of our women in the Gulf, and they are willing to add a voice. They are willing to stand up. They are willing to make a call on behalf of these women so that they can be brought home. One thing in point is, we know it is slow, it is difficult, but we believe that when we join hands with all the stakeholders, with the Fourth Estate, with the diplomatic corps, with the philanthropists, with everyone, our girls will be home.
Now, Friedrich, is this only a situation that is unique to the Middle East, especially the Gulf?
Okay.
Or are you having these ladies who are going for domestic work there from other parts of the globe also having same issues? Why the Middle East?
You know, I want us to look at two issues. The issue of the challenges that are facing our women in the Gulf that is now disfranchising their livelihoods is the issue of perception, the way the Arabs perceive Africans. That's where the problem starts. You know, we have got an history and we know how slave trade occurred. And so it is now true that the descendants of Arabs still view our domestic workers as slaves.
So it's a perception that they have, but we need to correct it. Now let's bring back this conversation to this side. Wanja, you told us that when you had applied to be a tutor, but things changed along the way. Were you able to find another place to actually work as they had promised you, or did you just remain with that employer? And how did you get back home since they had already taken custody of your documents?
At first I went to work in a house that I was a bit comfortable because there were kids and I am really good with kids. Yeah, so I had the opportunity, like in spite of doing the housework, and I still had the time to teach these children English and a little bit of basic general knowledge stuff. Then the issue became communication. The man of the house was a very well-traveled person, so he didn't have a problem communicating in English. But now the wife, when the man was maybe asking me if the babies have been fed and all that, the wife could have interpreted it another way.
Miscommunication.
Yes. So she took me back to the office. She said she wants somebody who has experience to work in Saudi, because in Saudi you're not maybe supposed to look at the man in the eye, but here we know that looking at somebody in the eye means you're concentrating, you know. Yeah, it's actually disrespectful if I'm talking to someone and they're looking another direction. I lose my train of
maintain eye contact, you are termed as dubious.
Yes.
So there's an issue of a perception in terms of our culture and that cultural disparity.
Yes.
Now, in quick summary, Wanja, because you have been there, and even as a media, we have highlighted some of the stories that we can, but we still find ladies especially, and maybe Friedrich would tell us, why isn't the Gulf attractive to men who are seeking greener pastures, so to speak? Why do these girls still persist that they need to be in such a place where they have seen others come back in coffins, maimed and such, in your view?
I think free things are attractive to a desperate person.
Free things are attractive to a desperate person.
Yes. So for example, to go to Saudi, you're not even required to give any money. In fact, it is you that will be paid fare. They will pay your fare, whether you are in Timbuktu or Kisumu or wherever. They will pay your fare to come to Nairobi or to come where the agency is, just to get the process going. Because I hear for every girl they're paid like 200,000. That's why when you are in distress, they ask you for 200,000 so that you can buy your freedom back. So for a lady that has no money, has no resources, has nothing, not even a birth certificate, to them that opportunity to travel abroad for work seems very attractive to them, lucrative and all that.
One word, what would you tell someone who is watching and they're thinking to go to the Gulf? What should they do and what should they not do?
I would urge anyone for that matter, a job opportunity abroad that does not require you to go to the embassy yourself, fear that one.
Fear that one. Madam Christian, as we go, you've said that it's a high time we had legislation that is tailor-made to ensure the safety of domestic workers. What do you have in mind as we come to a close?
I feel that it's not only legislation that will help us. It's good to put legislation in place. That is necessary. But if legislation is not implemented, then we still have a problem. So legislation is good, but implementation is the key. Is the most important part of all this we are talking about. What are we implementing? If people are to get visas, how do we get visas going to America, for example? It's not easy. It takes you months on end, and you pay heavily to get a visa. How come? It's so easy to go to the Arab world, the way you have described. Something must be suspicious. Why make it so easy? I know even going to America, going to Germany, going to France, going to anywhere else, you still have to pay money to get there because you have to buy your visa. And you must, them always will check, where are you going to in those countries? Where are you going to stay? What are you going to do? For how long will you be there? So all that must be documented, and they're strict. The Arab world is not strict. That's why I'm afraid something's very wrong. How come it's so easy to go there?
So
and
we
when
need
you're
to
going
not
there,
only change
just a
policy.
minute, when you're going there to do domestic work, there's got to be some kind of work permit. Do they also have work permit? Do they ask for work permit? Is there security for the migrant workers? Do they put some security in place? If you are going through distress, there's some kind of a problem you're going through, who do you report to? I think those are information that we need to know. When our girls go to the Middle East, do they know where they can report if they have problems? Is the embassy aware of their being there? Is the embassy in touch with them? Is the embassy coming out to rescue them? Should they make noise? I have a problem with the embassy.
Indeed.
What are they doing? What is their role anyway?
It seems
so. If we are going to make laws, we must make laws that will touch everybody.
And make everybody accountable. Well, it seems as if we have just scratched the surface when it comes to ensuring the safety of domestic workers, especially in the Gulf. This is a conversation that we're going to continue with. Thank you very much for watching. If you've caught this, you can get it a replica. We have been stripping live. You can watch it tomorrow. This is a conversation that we're bound to continue having so that we can fully ensure that wherever it is that you are going, you are regarded as an individual of value. I'm Regina Manyara. You have been watching Sunday Express.